Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's time for another round of tournament list reviews. So, realistically, most tournaments this weekend, I don't believe stuck or had enough time to get everyone to input their new lists due to the Death Guard and Knights nerf. That's kind of why I didn't do any tournaments last week because I had to do a video of this last week because there just wasn't anything new really going on. It's just the same old, same old. There might have been like a few lists, but those lists kind of transferred over to here. But yeah, over the weekend, it's kind of a short weekend, to be honest. Really, when I say by short, I mean like those are only really like the Nova Open and some larger tournaments. You have some tournaments like Roll for Damage that I don't think made it for the tournament cutoff. Yeah, Orbital Thunder, stuff like that. You have teams tournaments doing pretty good, Belgian Open, stuff like that. But next weekend's really where it's going to hit off. So most of my focus is going to be on the Nova Open, but there's just one list that I thought was kind of interesting coming out of Roll for Damage GT. It's Sam Young. He came first place, and his list is pretty interesting because instead of doing Hollowed Martyrs for Sisters of Battle, he went a Champions of Faith, almost tarp it with Sacrosanct. So he's just taking the Canoness because Canoness is a 2-up invulnerable. She's just an idiot that's hard to kill. Junith Ureta, she's just your Miracle Dice generator. Now you got the Hospitalers, and they're going to go into your Celestine Sacrosancts. I don't believe you can double up on Celestine Sacrosancts unless there's a special rule for this. Let's see, is there a stratagem? Like, is there start at the turn, you can put a Canoness in a Celestine squad. If nope. But yeah, this list is just Celestine Sacrosancts are just really good in this detachment, just the Sacrosanct detachment basically. And you got Morbid Vol, and what's interesting is he kind of did 2 Paragon Warsuits because they're actually quite decent in this detachment because they get benefits on their own, and then you also have Morbid Vol being in there getting those benefits. Arcoflagellant just for some random cover, but the real meat and potatoes is the triple Hospitaler and the triple Celestine Sacrosanct. That's a really hard stat line to shift. If we actually look at this, because if you look at the Sacrosanct, the Hospitaler is giving a 5-up Feel No Pain. They bring back models every turn. And if we can find, these ladies are, I believe, a 3-up, 4-up. Yeah, 3-up, 4-up, 1 wound. You don't think much about it. But with that 5-up Feel No Pain and a -1 to wound, they're kind of nuts to break. Do they have smoke? Let's see. Oh, they have grenades. I'm like, maybe that's smoke grenades too. But yeah, this list combined with Celestine Sacrosanct, like the actual like buffs you get the stratagems. I don't believe there was any enhancements. Let's see. Oh no, there was a Munistorm Priest for the 2 Sanctifiers units. Those Sanctifiers are actually pretty good, especially if you're just trying to do like chaff clear, like Eyes of the Oracle. What's the name of that? What does that do exactly? Yeah, Vera has precision, so it just makes the Ministorm's Priest makes her Flamer precision. It's a strength 5 AP 0 1 damage Flamer, D6 attacks. You know, it's just a little idiot. 50 points. Is it free? Hold up, what? Why is that 10 points? So I don't know what's going on. Why that's 40 points. This one's 50. They should be 60 points here, but might just be the way it is. But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff here. Like, put the Rhinos, get the Sacrosanct of 2 of the Rhinos, Clown Car them out. Hell, you could probably put the Sanctifiers in the Rhinos. Do the Sanctifiers have Scout or Infiltrate? They probably have Scout, don't they? Can they go on a Rhino? They should. They should be able to get into a Rhino. Do they have Scout? Yeah, they have Scout 6. So you could throw those 2 Sanctifier squads into the Rhinos, Scout move them up the board, or put the Arcos somewhere. And it's just, you don't really want to move into the Sacrosanct blobs because these ladies are getting, you know, 1 AP, one more movement, 1 leadership, but it's the weapon skill and ballistic skill. So they're just hitting an extra. They're basically hitting on 2s in melee. Obviously, you have the Paragon Warsuits that are doing better, and it's a big hit profile. Like, it's just a couple maces. Like, you don't think about it, and they're super durable with Hospitalers, and then you just get all these buffs from these stratagems. Like, you get that's righteous because you're just picking the 3 Sacrosancts, or like the 2. You probably pick one of the Sacrosancts, but yeah, you just pick paragons, give them lethal hits for shooting. You move down the list, and it's like, okay, well, now we just pick ladies for being righteous. Being able to pick 3 in the command phase. I remember they changed this because it used to not be this. It used to be, this detachment used to be much worse. It was almost impossible to get them righteous. But yeah, these ladies are going to be hitting hard. You just tarp it. You know, you just kind of walk the three squads on the board, and with hospitality, they're almost impossible to shift if you're rolling well, because those 4-up saves are just so difficult to crack, especially with that 5-up. Because yeah, obviously if you shoot them with heavy bolters, it does nothing, because you know they have the 4-up invul and 2 damage means nothing. You know, you're just gonna kill 1 lady anyways. It's just one of those things where I think we're gonna start seeing more and more tar pit armies now that knights are kind of getting shifted out due to the nerfs. And again, like most of the Death Guard and Knights lists are just dropping. They're the same list, maybe dropping a big knight and turning out for some arbigers. So they're actually getting more like damage spread. So it's looking pretty interesting. Okay, now we're moving on to the actual meat and potatoes of this weekend. The main draw is that this tournament had the updated rules. So as you can see, Death Guard is still doing pretty good. There's probably some Knights players somewhere. Let's see, probably in the top 50. Let's see. I don't think anyone. Oh, did anyone? Nope, none of the top 32. Looks like everyone's lists were situated well enough to fight Knights. So one interesting thing is Derek Apshe. He's going to be the first one we're looking at. We're going to go up from 3rd place to 1st. When you're looking at this, he has a new kind, not really new, but like a different change. It's the Virulent Vectorium for Death Guard. So if we look at it, it's you hold an objective. That objective is sticky, and it gives Nurgle's blessing, Nurgle's gift. So if someone goes near the objective that you're controlling, they get Nurgle's gift. So you can get -1 to hit, -1 AP type of deal, -1 armor. You get all these good stuff, and let's just go back to what he took. So you're basically just throwing stuff on objectives, taking objectives, holding them, and it gets exponentially harder to take those objectives because they have that Nurgle's gift aura. So like even if you, for the most part, it's like, you know, because like let's look at it, to be honest, because like you're gonna be having it no matter what if you're near, like if your models are on the battle round, like if they're on the objective, they're getting that. But technically speaking, like say you stop like 9 inches away from an objective, and they have what is it? Yeah, they have Scabrous Soul Rot, and they move in -1 leadership and objective control by the models. That's pretty good into like high OC armies. Like if you're struggling for that OC, like maybe you have like 3 Death Shroud and they only have their certain amount, but then somebody throws on their new what's it called? There's an army out there that has like 40 plus OC, like a Terminator brick, right? Like a 10-man Terminator, like Deathwing Knight brick walks up. Your Lord of Contagion and stuff with that -1 objective control, if they survive, which they most likely will, they just hold that point. So especially, I don't know if these stack. I don't think they stack. So it doesn't say they stack. Yeah, it's just a -1 OC. Realistically, it's probably going to be like the Rattle Joint or the Skull Squirm Blight that's going on, but the -1 OC is pretty good into like if they're just trying to tar pit your objectives. Like if this army went up against, say, Sisters of Battle Sustain Sacrosanct tar pit, it'd be much harder because they get that -1 OC on all the objectives that you're holding, and even theirs, because you could steal it from them, you know. And it's a very interesting type of list, especially because of the attachment. They're not terrible. Like none of this in the attachment's terrible. Let's go over to what he actually took. So he took a Demon Prince of Nurgle, Revolting Regeneration. That makes his Demon Prince of Nurgle really durable. It's really hard to kill that guy when he has a 5-up Feel No Pain. I'm pretty sure he is the toughest Demon Prince and the hardest to kill. You know, 10 wounds, T12, 2-up, 4-up with a 5-up Feel No Pain. That is a hard profile to crack. It doesn't matter like any of this other crap he has. Like, oh, cool, he's got the Daily Demise, you know, Fervor Strategist, 1 bottle from your army with this book, use it 12, and you just reduce command points. So it's almost impossible to shift this guy. It's effectively like a Chaos Knight. you know, without the 20 wounds, but he's basically a baby Chaos Knight for 200 points. And, you know, he's a 215 and he's about half a Chaos Knight without about as durable. Lord of Contagions, they're going to just be thrown into Death Shroud, Deep Strike 'em, stuff like that. Then you got Mortarion. This is the real backbone of the list. He's just kind of there to tank, you know, like it's again, like Death Guard are very durable, and trying to shift Mortarion is going to be difficult, especially because he has a built-in file up, feel no pain. And then you get, oh, look at all these abilities he gets, you know, disease influence. And it's like, okay, he's just this big beater that just anchors an entire side of the board. You know, if you can keep him in your backfield turn one, dodge the shooting, you know, clear some screens and just march his, you know, his bloated butt forward, he's just gonna exist in a bad situation, because he's just giving a ton of buffs. You know, he's got what was it? Yeah, being able to disease influence, you know, making a normal move up to 5 inches away, and you just point at him. And like someone, like you have like a world eater's army that stops at like 8 inches, you just made their charge 5 inches. Or you could just throw them forward and heroic intervention with the fights first. I don't know if Death Guard has fights first, but you just throw them forward and then throw them into engagement rings, heroic intervention for free if you have your Death Guard guy there, you know, Death Guard Demon Prince to get heroic intervention for cheap, and then just fights first into like a with your Death Shroud into their cord, you know, their card blob or something. It just gets cleaned up. There's nothing they can do. Boon of Death, if I face, yep. There's just a lot of stuff like Boon of Death, Disease Influence can be really interesting. And I don't think this is a one-time deal, because it's just pick 2. Once per turn, not pick 2, yeah. Once per turn can use. Okay. Yeah, I'm just reading it because I haven't seen Mortarion a lot. And the Chaos Spawn, I believe their scouts like 7 or 6. They're just these 80 points for these 2 idiots is really good. They're not super durable, but they're like, it's like piranhas from Tau, where they're just like, oh, I don't want to actually put anything to stop you, and they can take on entire like squads by themselves. Death Shroud, they're still the backbone, kind of. They're still this like durable backbone that's just gonna be hard to break, especially with Lords of Contagion, because if you shoot the Lord of Contagion with like precision or precision melee attacks, the Death Shroud just don't care. Like they're gonna buff the hell out of that Lord of Contagion, so he's just not gonna die. Feta bloat drones, they're the range shooting, double mephitic, more range shootings. These are the actual like long range shooting of the list, and then just 3 poxwalkers. I think we're going to see more and more of these types of lists. I think we can also just see more of the same, like Mortarion's Hammer, where you just have they just drop the Poxwalkers basically in a Mortarion's Hammer list, because like most Death Guard lists went up what 200 points or so. So like, yeah, you just drop all these and then you still keep everything. You just lose some stuff. He has a Tallyman. He's just gonna be an idiot sitting somewhere. I forget, what does a Tallyman do? This is the one that gives CP, right? I always forget exactly what Death Guard. This is the one that yep, 7+, you gain 1 command point. I guess this is kind of similar to the Ethereal's one. I think it's better, because I'm pretty sure getting a 7+ is statistically higher chance on 2 dice than it is getting a 4 or more on a 1 dice. But yeah, it's just command point generation. You need it. There's nothing you can do. But yeah, like you're looking at this stuff, a Death Guard. Yep. Throw this, you know, Leech Spore Eruption, and you just throw Mortarion on this. Like, yo, Mortarion just lost 5 wounds, and then just roll a number of d6 equal the number of your. Oh my gosh. You know, you shoot Mortarion, and he just gets, like, if you roll hot enough, you just take 6 wounds back. You know, you lose like Mortarion had like a what, like 20 wounds, or is he 16? 16, yeah, he's 16 wounds. He loses 10 wounds, right? And roll the 10d6 and gets 6 wounds back, and he does mortals to everything. Like, it is, this detachment's just really hard to shift people. It's only 1 command point, so you get that for free half the time. You know, it's just, you're getting Oh my gosh. And you get Plague Surge. And that just makes it so you have, like, say you're turn 3 or 4 and you've got 12-inch Plague. It's just, this is a good detachment, I think. We're probably going to see more of them, but I wouldn't say it's going to be the new meta. I think Mortarion Stem are still probably the best because you can just pick 3 guys out and they're okay, you're afflicted. And that does a lot because you just get the -1 to hit on you just basically just being able to just put -1 to hit onto 3 enemy units, or even just -1 save is just insane every turn, you know. Oh no, it's 2, sorry, 2 not 3. You just put it on 2 units every turn and it just is what it is. Okay, so I think, yeah, congratulations to Derek Apshe for getting, I believe, 3rd. Yeah, now let's move on to 2nd place. So this is the type of list I'm saying that's going to be coming out more. Oh, so this is 1st. 1 second. Where's my 2nd? Here we go, 2nd place. From World Eaters. Just your standard World Eater rush list, you know. Got 3 Chaos Spawn to run up the board, grab stuff, 8 bound for that, and then you get the Forge Fiends in the back shooting, and then some Jackals for objective play. Lord of Vacatus, I'm pretty sure, is just on his own. Let's see. Can he? Does he isn't? You could probably, you know what? You could probably attach him to something that I'm not thinking of. But yeah, Berserker Warband. He's pretty simple, you know. Just basically the Blood Angels benefits of charge. Add 1 to the attack and 2 to the strength. It's good, you know. Like if the World Eaters are charging you, they're gonna kill whatever they charge. Basically, it's gonna be pretty hard to break that, especially with the stratagems. Which one was it? Yeah, advance in charge is just like a massive threat range, especially if you get some of the blessings of the Corn going. This is Blood Surge and all that stuff. This is a very fast army. Like, you just hack and slash. You just 1 command point extra AP for charging, and it's like, okay, there's a reason why this is probably their best attachment. Oh, he can join 8 bound. Yeah, you just throw in Vacatus. Wait, well, this one is Minnesota Deep Strike. Oh Lord. Oh, dude, I don't know why they didn't. They should have released Berserkers on Juggernauts so that Invocatus could just do Ride of the Rohirrim. Not even Rohirrim, just the Riders of the Storm, just run into slam into things. But yeah, this is. Oh no. Yeah, this guy does a lot of damage. I haven't really like thought about Lord Invocatus in a while, so like, okay, Deep Crits of Corn. Favorite of Corn, that is the one that gives, yeah, each time you make a blessing, if the bears, you re-roll up to two of the dice. That's really good because you want as many of your blessings to be re-rolled, and that Demon Prince is extremely durable, but not as durable as the Death Guard one. Master's Execution, Berserker Glaive, that is just a big slapper, right? Yeah, add 1 of the damage. Have melee weapons. It's just a big slapper. He gets thrown into Berserker Squad, I think, right? He can go into Berserker Squad. I want to say he can go into Berserker Squad. It's just all these guys. I'm like, okay. I'm pretty sure he's like, is he a fights first? No. Let's see. Yeah, he's just a throw him in. He does a ton of damage, you know. And then he gives reroll advance with charge rolls, right? No, advance rolls made for that unit. Yep. And re-roll the d6. So this guy's just going to make it so that one Corn Berserker Squad that he attaches into can just charge through anything, because you're dropping that and you get the big advance in charges. It's a really, really big boy. And then Karn the Betrayer, he's just a blender. You throw him into something. This is the type of, like, the rush list I'm thinking we're going to start seeing more of now that Knights are gone. Not really gone, but like weaker, because if you're charging in to Knights, it's incredibly difficult to break them because they don't care. They're just so durable. But this type of stuff, you know, like the double 8 bound one, I'm pretty sure you have Lord of Vacatus in one of these, and I think the Demon Prince doesn't have Lone Op. I think he's just a monster on the board. But let's double check. He shouldn't have Lone Op, does he? Was he a Demon Prince or Demon Prince with wings? I'm pretty sure he's the Demon Prince. Yeah, Demon Prince of Corn. Does he have Lone Up? No, he's just a dude. I don't think he can attach to anyone yet. He's just a guy out there. He just hits hard because he's a World Eater. The main thing, though, is these Forge Fiends. These Forge Fiends are so good at shooting, and I'm glad they are. Oh, I said triple ectoplasm. They can get 3 of those fuckers. Oh Jesus. But yeah, I'm glad they are as durable. They do as much as they do, because I like having armies that aren't just like you don't get any shooting at all or you don't get any melee at all. I think the Forge Fiends are basically the shooting equivalent of what Tau should have with melee. And I guess Tau kind of have it with Fruitox Rampagers, but they're not as ubiquitous in shooting as Rampagers are as a Forge Fiend. So I definitely want to see more of these Berserker Warband lists, because they're just fun. You know, watching these guys just charge through and do exactly what world leaders want to do and actually doing well with it's really interesting. And I understand a lot of people like, oh, it's just kind of a brain dead play style, but it doesn't really matter to me, because, you know, watching a whole tide of red just run up the board and slam into you is pretty cool, especially if you can survive it. Now, first place, we're going to Fulgur Piles. This list has probably been talked about a lot. It's most likely the best, one of the best Eldar lists. There's the War Host, which we have here. Let me, I forget the name of it. Oh my god. Oh, how do I spell Eldari? They always change the names. There we go. So there's War Host for Eldar, and then there is the other one. I forget what it's called. War Host. This is the one that lets you do things. It's not Spirit Conclave. Guardian Battle Host, not that one. Are they both War Hosts? Seer Council. Huh. Which one of these is it? War Host? Are they both War Host? No, yeah, both War Host. Oh my gosh. I'm like, what about that last list from like a few weeks ago that I looked over? Yeah, it's the same thing. Eldrad, he does Eldrad things. He does a lot of damage. I'm pretty sure. I haven't really like remembered his where is Eldrad? Why can't I find him? Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. There we go. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the one that just gives command points. Yep. He just, at the start of your command phase, he gives you a command point back. Shadow Sun should do this. It shouldn't be a 5+. Same with Orin Ethereal should be able to do this. But yeah, he's just gonna be on the board. He's generating command points. He's got Doom. Just being able to add 1 to wound. He's just this guy that runs around and he does whatever the hell he wants. I'm pretty sure he has something to go into. So let's take a look. But yeah, he's just generating command points, giving minus +1 to wound. Fuegan, Fugon, Fujiji, Mr. Big Dragon himself, he's just gonna delete things. Jane Czar, she's going into her witches. Like, she's just got a huge threat range, especially in War Host, because the War Host is just so high movement. Lickish, so basically all like a couple Phoenix Lords and the de facto like leader of the Eldar right now. So it's a fun list. You know, you're getting these aspect warriors, kind of like basically like the fucking red Power Ranger. I guess this one's black, Power Ranger. Pretty sure Lickish. I'd say Lickish is green. Jane Czar is white, I guess. We got a weird color. Eldar can be blue. We got weird. No pink yet. Yeah, these guys, they just do whatever the hell they want. The individual characters are probably about as strong as the entire squad, so they're just moving around killing things. Like Mogan Ra just deletes everything. He's such a cool model too. I really like the model. Lickishes are like, I like how Lickish is kind of just on like a meta point. Lickish, she's basically like a sign of Age of Sigmar design coming into the game, into 40k, because like most 40k armies, they're kind of like lackluster and boring. Like, you look at some of those character models in Age of Sigmar compared to 40k, it's like night and day how better designed the Age of Sigmar models are. And I'm really happy. I want to see more of it, because I know it was the new was it the Deceiver or was it the Nightbringer? The new Nightbringer. He looks amazing. So I just like talking about this, because this is like, some of them are simple, you know, but like these character models were really going out of the park. Corsair Void Reavers, they're just your front wave, you know, your first line of defense. They just scout move forward. I think it's either scout move or infiltrate. They're forward deployers, and I'm pretty sure they're scouts. Yeah, scout 7. Scout 7 on a set. Oh my gosh. And they're only like 60 points for these little dudes. Yeah, they're just good. They're basically just, they do enough damage and they're small enough that's like, okay. And they're the little melee guys because they all got power swords. So it's like, okay. And they're hitting on 3s. 60 points for this is insane. It's such a good little unit. Wave Serpent, you're throwing that because this is how Wave Serpent play when you disembark, shoot, and then re-embark next turn or whatever. With in Warhost, it basically makes it impossible for your fire dragons to die in any way, in any meaningful way. Oh, this is basically one of the, it's kind of why the argument is that like indirect fire is the same as fire and fade, where like you can move and shoot, move, jump, shoot, jump, or shoot and then embark in a transport, because you can't really fight back against it. Like, yeah, you can chip a few wounds off a Wave Serpent, but you like until you kill that Wave Serpent, these fire dragons are never getting damaged, and they do so much damage. They do so much damage. Falcon, he's just there. I'm pretty sure Falcons don't have a transport capacity. Let's double check. From my understanding, a Falcon's like a deep strike dude that can just shoot really well, but let's double check. Oh no, I'm wrong. No, yep, it is deep strike. He's just a guy. He just oh, he can transport, so he's the one transporting the Mogan Raw unit. He's being shoved in there, and they're gonna deep strike in, dump their load. Little I guess I could have sworn Falcons were as big as Wave Serpents. Maybe they are, and they just gave that Bright Lance, because that Bright Lance hits hard. It's a super las cannon type of deal. But yeah, you're I'm pretty sure you're where are the just, you don't have Dark Reapers in this list. Where's the Dark Reaper? Oh, right there, yeah. You're putting your Dark Reapers in the Falcon, and you're putting the Fire Dragons in the Wave Serpent. And then the Howling Banshees can start on the board, and it's like a fucking 26-inch move or something like that. It's kind of like Lickish. Like, these Warp Spiders move so fast. They move so fast. You got Swooping Hawks. Swooping Hawks are just like, they drop down and they're going to shoot things. Like, if you look at Warhost, they move so quickly. Like, this army moves so fast, and it is so hard to bust, because they have a good, like, if you charge into a Wave Serpent and into the Fire Dragon Wave Serpent and just kill the Wave Serpent, it doesn't matter, because you're just going to get cleaned up by the Howling Banshees, or just shot to pieces by the Fire Dragons. Like, it doesn't take any of these enhancements because they're not worth it. Like, why would I take them when I have like the name characters are just better? But like, you receive additional battle focus token. The battle focus, you're just running up the board with agile maneuvers. Swift as the Wind, add an additional 1, and it's just a whole army whenever they use it. And at each time a unit from your agile maneuver, add 1 to the d6, so they're always moving a minimum of 2 extra inches every time they do one of these things. And it's just, they're so fast. It's insane how fast Eldar is right now. And like 4 or 5 units could be traveling 20 inches a turn, and it's just, my god. And that's just like their normal moves. Like, that's like a normal move in advance, and they can still shoot, because I'm pretty sure they have you got Fire and Fade, Webway Tunnel. Whew. Oh my gosh. And then they got Uppy Downy as well with the Webway Tunnel. Oh my god. I always forget how ridiculous. This is a very good detachment. I know, look, the Yonari detachment was pretty busted when it first came out, but like, Warhost is just so ridiculous. There's a reason why it's been winning everything. I think a lot of people were saying, we'll find out next week when like more people are in the design space for the new changes. But I think Eldar, like I was saying, are going to be probably the best top army, maybe top 3 after the changes. Maybe before I forget what, I think it's LVO's coming out soon. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure LVO is later this year, or it's already happened. I forget which one. There's a major tournament coming just before the next balance patch, or like after, and I think it's like the next 2 or 3 weeks you're probably going to see the next balance patch. And I don't see how Eldar aren't just going to come. Like, if they don't see any changes, I think Eldar are just the best army in the game. Because if we go back to Nova, who did you lose to, Brian Daughtery? You lost to Folger Piles. Like, this list, like, everyone that I've been seeing talk about Eldar is like, oh well, like world leaders rush armies are gonna destroy Eldar at top tables, and then here's a world leaders rush army, here's an Eldar army, and guess who lost? So these Eldar lists I think are just going to be very uninteractive because I've seen them play. Like the by like turn 2 or 3 they're basically tabled you, and you can see he's not scoring high. He's not doing large scoring games. Like most of them are like 90s or like high 90s, high 80s with some stumbles. The main thing is that they're not scoring hundreds, and these hundreds are because they're just maxing out all their points, because most of these armies that can max out their points are have a larger presence on the board. Because you look at this world leader army right here from James Levitt. Oh my gosh, you can see it, Corn Demon King, he's just flooding the board, right? That's why he's getting hundreds. And as you saw, this isn't flooding the board. These are a bunch of small minimum units. It's probably like what, 15 units here. So let's count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, I might have miscounted. It might have been 16. There's about 16 units, and I think Eldrad's on foot. But yeah, this type of list is you're going to keep seeing more and more, because these, like, they have so much forward deploy, and just like three Void Reavers and a Ranger squad. They have so much forward deploy, it's insane. I just don't see how the meta is going to react when because like they used to take double fire dragons. Now you only need the one. Like, why do I need 2 fire dragons when there's only 3 knights on the board? I can just fling in something else. Like, this is kind of what I was saying. It's like, okay, the fire dragons seem a little good, but to be honest, they are kind of weak the second they're out on their own. Like, there are some lists that I saw, like the new Raven Guard lists that can come out, they're going to be just as like fast as this. So maybe they'll get caught, because like some of that stuff, it's just like there's a lot of movement shenanigans and deep strike stuff you can get in that new Raven Guard army and the Raven Guard attachment that I could definitely see you're fast enough to catch Eldar. And like even like, oh well, like 3 warp spiders is a lot of melee, especially with like a single, like if you keep this Howling Banshee squad with Jane Czar in the back as a counterpunch to like anything, they're just going to pick up anything short of like a massive Terminator brick, and it's insane. So yeah, I think the new meta, like I was saying, was going to be like World Eaters, Thousand Sons, Eldar, with like a sprinkling of like sisters coming in, because like Nova's basically predicting it, right? Because this is the first army. These are the best players in the world, and it's all just Eldar, World Eaters, Death Guard, a little bit of Necrons, and some Chaos Demons from TJ Lanigan, and I think Trevi Tactical Tortoise is here as well. But as you can see, I think we're going to start seeing, I think Knights, oh no, there was a Chaos Knights guy here. I think Knights might have tumbled a little further than Death Guard. I think Death Guard are still top tier, probably not auto win tier anymore, but I think they're probably around even with Eldar. World Eaters with Knights being removed, they're going to have a lot easier, a better time, because most of their melee is kind of like quote unquote mid strength, not like T12, but they have like a lot of T8 attacks, and that's with one less knight on the field, you can kind of chip them down through lethals and sustain and stuff like that, and devastating wounds. But yeah, these Necron lists, like, what even are these guys? I know nothing about Necron, so I won't be able to go. Okay, so they're just big shooting lists with Star Shatter and Silent Kings, with some Wraiths to hold the front, right? Doomsday Arcs, yep. Doomsday Arc, Locust, yep. They're just shooty guys with some. You get the Catacomb Command Barges, Technomancer. You got the Silent King in the back. Star Shatter is just running around. He's just got big shooties, and then some Canoptic stuff to hold the front. So yeah, it's I don't know too much about that list, but it's going to be interesting. There's not much to say right now. It's the first quote unquote week that the lists are live. Next week is going to be like the mainstay. So we'll see. But I'm guessing it's going to be Eldar, World Eaters, Thousand Sons, and Death Guard. Kind of the way it's been. And then Knights are probably going to be a little shorter range. That should be everything though. So as always, thank you all very much for watching. Have a great day.